This campaign for the last year, Donald Trump has basically mocked everybody with personal attacks. The media has given these personal attacks an incredible amount of coverage. Let's start talking again about the issues that matter to this country. I'm ready to do that starting right here, right now, tonight.
I also happen to call him a lightweight. I would like to take that back. He's really not that much of a lightweight. He hit my hands. Nobody has ever hit my hands. Look at those hands. Are they small hands? And he referred to my hands. If they're small, something else must be small. I guarantee you there's no problem. I guarantee it.
I don't think the people of America are interested in a bunch of bickering school children. They're interested in solutions, not slogans. It's easy to say, make things better, make things great.
Throughout this campaign, I've talked about issues. I have never tried to go and get into these kind of scrums that we're seeing here on the stage, and people say everywhere I go, you seem to be the adult on the stage.
I beat Hillary Clinton in many polls.
If you're our nominee,
Hold on,
Excuse
Senator.
me,
Hold
I
on.
think I'm talking.
Hold on.
excuse me.
I beat Hillary Clinton in
Hold on.
I hope you can
The audience cannot understand when you're talking over each other. Finish your point, Mr. Trump.
I would like it clear, though, since we're talking about polls, I beat Hillary Clinton by more than anybody, by 11 points. And the reason it happens...
in one poll. In one poll.
You know, the reason is because, as the Democrats tell me all the time, I can get the crossover votes.
I understand the folks who are supporting Donald right now. You're angry. You're angry at Washington, and he uses angry rhetoric. But for 40 years, Donald has been part of the corruption in Washington that you're angry about. You're not going to stop the corruption and the cronyism by supporting someone who has used government power for private gain. Instead, we need a president who stands with the American people.
The news. Here is an illustrated summary of the news happenings at home and abroad.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Brock Lawley program. My name is Brock Lawley. I am your fearless host. You know, I'll tell you what. These debates, they just keep escalating. And I know that the whispering in everybody's ear, the gossip train, the alphabet soup, it's all about how hot the rhetoric is. You even have Van Jones, and we took Van Jones to the corporate, punishment corner, put a little dunce hat on him, and made him say, "I do not lie," a couple hundred times on the chalkboard in 2 podcasts ago. But Van Jones is out there talking about how his kids can't watch this debate. Van Jones and a lot of Dems are real upset about this. There's a lot of name calling. People are raising their voice. There is mentioning of teeny tiny little midget hands and the like. And Van Jones, and all of a sudden the left-wing media, the Sodom and Gomorrah left-wing media, all of a sudden, like a sprout of green from the pavement of moral decay, comes a little tiny seedling that bursts through that is their conscience and their morality. And it is just soaking in the sunlight and drinking up the rainwater. And it is just an interesting thing to see. How convenient that all of a sudden when Donald Trump starts talking about teeny hands, there's no problem. Miley Cyrus can take off her clothes and, do the dirty deed with some sort of styrofoam finger right in front of Van Jones's kid. And this is the far outreaching expansion of us and our creativity. But a couple harsh words in the Democratic debate, and everybody's got their children's eyes averted. Look, for the record, I do believe in civil discourse. For the record, I do desperately want this nation to return to our biblical values, to treat each other like Christ modeled. There's no doubt in my mind that is the silver bullet, not only for the economic problems and the social problems, but for us individually. But you simply cannot expect me or anybody else that has any kind of common sense or self-thinking attributes to sit here and choke these lectures down from a media and an entertainment class and an academic, caveat that has been just sledgehammering these very notions for years. They're not intellectually honest. They don't care about that. They care about power like every other lens they look through. Everything they see, everything they say,
everything they do is just about power. It has nothing to do with the thing they say. Trust me. These people are not losing sleep over the fact that hoo-ha jokes are rolling off the lips of the candidates. They're losing sleep over the fact that the political establishment and the power structure is about to have a stick of dynamite thrown into it. That's what I think they're mostly losing sleep over. And the fact that they're hanging their great white KKK Democratic hope on a jailbird candidate that could be indicted and should be indicted, and we're going to get to that in the stories in a minute. That's what they're really concerned about. So let's not be fooled. Let's not joke around here. Anyway, I'm going to leave the debate to the highlight clips I gave you at the beginning. I could break down the individuals, but I'm just not going to at this point. What are we up to, like 13, 14 debates or something like that? Essentially, here's the cliff notes, ladies and gentlemen. Rubio and Cruz basically tag team Trump again. I would say that the pointedness, at least from their end, was blunted just a little bit. It was hyperbolic. Volume was way up. And for my money, Cruz had the best lines, the best substance. I think there really is no debate about that. But is that what moves the needle? No. What we've established moves the needle is sound clips, big personalities, quips, one-liners. We all know that at this point, right? That's actually what moves the political needle, and not just in the GOP debate, but in politics in general. So I don't know that Cruz is going to be benefited by any of that. But there it is. What do you know? New York Times slays the Democrats, slays the Republicans in general across the board. Here's the transcript, by the way. I always send you there. I always do. Read this stuff. Read this stuff. Don't listen to politicians or power players. Read them. Transcript is WashingtonPost.com. Romney comes out prior to the debate and calls Trump a menace, among many other things, angling for a brokered convention. By the way, have you guys been watching House of Cards on Netflix? It's like the writers are prophetic. Anyway, they're kind of calling all that out. I can't say that I can suggest on a moral level House of Cards, although it's compelling television. I didn't like the second season as much as I did the first, and now I'm off on a rabbit trail. Romney comes out, calls him a menace, lobbies essentially for a brokered convention. Romney, of all people, I mean, I've been saying this forever. The GOP, I seriously don't think that you could put any combination of human beings that you find on this planet. Now, hear me say this, because I'm not saying this to entertain you. I'm saying this because I mean it, and I've meant it for a long time. And I'll tell you some of my background with them. So this isn't coming from just popping off at the mouth. I have some substance that backs this up. I'm telling you, go out and randomly round up. What do you say? The big power brokers in the GOP, let's call them 300 people. Randomly round up 300 people. Give them the same goal that the GOP has as a political party. Give them the same massive war chest. Give them the same money, the same power, the same moving and shaking ability. And literally any 300 people you pick will do so much better than these people, by way of PR, by way of strategy, by way of forming a narrative, by way of everything, absolutely everything, down the list. They are so incompetent, so horrible, so tone deaf, so incapable, or maybe unwilling to read the tea leaves, to listen to people, to have any sense about what time they're in. I can't say enough bad things about the party. They're just a fail fest of epic proportion. They never find a good idea. They never find a good idea. You can put them in an Easter egg field, and not the Easter eggs that are hidden, just those little tiny, toddler Easter egg hunts, just filled with good ideas. One turd in the field, they'll find the turd. It's just remarkable. I've been watching it my whole life. So I worked for a television station as of developing, and I used to go and talk to GOP movers and shakers. And this is in a very influential state, a state that determines the election a lot of the time. And I'm talking to these guys, and the groupthink that I experienced was shocking. The lack of creative thinking was shocking. And bear in mind, I'm a conservative, so I wanted to help these guys. This is something you could do. This is a way I could help you. The tone deafness, the incestuous thinking, it was remarkable to me. So when I tell you this stuff about the GOP, and bear in mind I've been brought to CPAC to perform, I've gotten to see behind the circus, ladies and gentlemen. I've been able to pull back the veil, and it is an ugly, ugly, ugly thing. And I evidence you Mitt Romney being their choice messenger in this obvious assassination attempt. And the assassin that they chose didn't fire in his scope, had no idea how to handle a firearm, and what do you know? He missed. Joke. NBC News reports that the feds grant immunity, ladies and gentlemen, to the guy or person, I don't even know if it is a guy, who set up Hillary Clinton's private server. So this is another thing that I read this article. They didn't even allude to this. In order to set up a server, this is something I know about. She had to give him the password. So the breach in security is so far-reaching. There's so many accounts of this, but it's good to be a Hillary. It's good to be a Clinton, and it's even better to be a Democrat because the law doesn't apply. FBI investigations don't apply. Will she skate? I don't know. I guess the jury's still out. I think if you're a betting man, you have to say she will. The New York Times, however, covers for her. What do you know? The hack New York Times. Just remarkable anyway. If you choose to read that claptrap, mainstream Republicans, Bill Kristol, Max Boot, hack, GOP water carriers, all out there talking about a third-party presidential candidate if Trump is the nominee, and they're all talking about the joy at the prospect that they'll do everything to encourage it. Now, I just find this remarkable that they had Trump sign. I don't know if you guys remember this. I'm sure you did. It's in the news again. They had him sign some sort of like agreement, almost like a legal prenuptial agreement or whatever, that if his Trump train didn't arrive at the station, he's not going to run third party. But clearly, the whole time, these guys had no intention of holding down their end. And again, I want to point my fellow citizens to this as an example. The federal government looks at all things, laws, everything they do. It's all a one-way street. You're to obey them. You're to bow. You're to row the big boat. You're to be the serf and the slave. They, however, get to move the pieces on the board as they will. They're not affected. I cite you, Hillary Clinton. They're not affected by the same laws everybody else is. They get to step out of the bonds. And I'm telling you, the chickens are coming home to roost on this. This is not going to stand. And it's just remarkable for me to see the GOP have the chutzpah to openly talk about a third-party run when pick up their toys and go home when they don't get the nominee they want. Boy, they're going to feel the wrath of the constituency if they try to pull anything like this. And that these clueless fools are not self-aware enough to know this is remarkable. Not shocking, remarkable. The tone deafness, truly remarkable. The third-party clamor and banter is at the New York Times. Crowdhammer. Trump's alpha male appeal. This is the key to his appeal, so says Crowdhammer. And unless Rubio and Cruz can crack that code, they can't win. It's a fascinating piece. I don't think this is the entirety of Trump's appeal, but I think it's a branch of the tree. So I disagree with Crowdhammer in that sense because he's really putting a lot of stock in this. But I think there's truth to this, and it's an interesting read. Again, the Washington Post has this. Caucuses in Minnesota, ladies and gentlemen, completely conducted in Somali. Not one word of English. Does anybody know what was said, by the way? No. How many people do you know that tongue? The American core, the marrow of its bones being whittled out. This is not America. This is not America. America doesn't take you to the bowling alley, if you will, and put, bumpers in the gutters. That's not how it goes. You assimilate. You assimilate. You assimilate. Italians, Irish, Asians. You assimilate. They all assimilated. That's what works. That's why it works then. It worked then rather than it doesn't work now. Anyway, caucuses in Minnesota completely conducted outside the king's tongue. The Gateway pundit has that story. Supporters of Ben Shapiro groped, physically assaulted. Ben Shapiro, conservative, as many of you know, shoved, assaulted at the CSULA event that he spoke at. YAF.org has the story. A shameful indictment of the mob, the violence, and the projection on the left. Anybody who says or does anything they don't like and they violently attack you, and then they project those motives and those actions onto their political opponents. It's shocking. If you had a media, you'd know it. And lastly, de Blasio, Comrade de Blasio in New York City, completely dismantling the city. I read this piece in cityjournal.org. It's heartbreaking. What a few years, 2 years of a Democratic governor, a Democratic mayor, governor can do to a city. It's remarkable. Leftism is the opposite of the Midas touch. It destroys everything. It's infectious, filthy, grubby hands touch. Take Detroit, case in point. Thank you for listening to the Brock Lawley Show. Be a people of character, fortitude, and now more than ever, courage.
Long live the new media.